It kicked off like the opening scene of a gritty political crime drama. FBI agents swarmed Dolton Village Hall, armed with thick stacks of federal subpoenas and a mission to uncover the truth. And at the center of it all, Tiffany Henyard, once celebrated, now infamous, who boldly crowned herself America's Super Mayor. For a while, she controlled it all. Dolton's mayor's office, Thornton Township's supervisor's seat. That kind of political stranglehold is something most politicians only dream about. But dreams turn to nightmares. Her empire is now rubble, destroyed under the weight of corruption allegations, reckless spending, and a lifestyle so excessive it drained not one but two governments, leaving taxpayers betrayed and boiling with anger. From 2021 to 2025, Henyard's reign turned from hopeful to disastrous. In a town where the median household income barely scraped $54,000, she was raking in a jaw-dropping $347,000 a year, more than some big city mayors could ever hope for. And it didn't stop there. She poured over $1 million into a private security detail. Her travel habits read like a celebrity influencer's itinerary. First-class flights, luxury hotels, and more than $67,000 blown on trips to Portland, Austin, and New York. And she flaunted every bit of it. Gold-plated microphones at public events. DJs spinning at official board meetings. A non-stop PR campaign casting her as Dolton's savior, even as the town's finances crumbled beneath her watch. By the time voters finally kicked her out in 2025, the damage was catastrophic. Dolton was staring down a staggering $10 million deficit. Thornton Township, once sitting on a $2 million surplus, was now drowning in a $2 million deficit of its own. Core services were gutted. Local vendors went unpaid. And lawsuits piled up nearly 40 deep, with potential payouts soaring past $20 million. Residents said she wasn't focused on fixing problems. She was focused on silencing her critics. Business owners claimed retaliation was real. One U-Haul operator, Lawrence Gardner, told his story. "We refused to cough up $3,500 for one of her events. His business license renewal was suddenly blocked. That toxic cocktail of reckless spending, personal excess, and alleged political revenge finally caught the FBI's eye. April 2024 marked their first big strike. Two subpoenas aimed squarely at Henyard's operation. They demanded everything. Campaign finance reports, charity records from her now-defunct Tiffany Henyard Cares nonprofit, and paperwork tied to a suspicious land deal involving her boyfriend, Kamal Woods. And it didn't stop with her. The subpoenas named her right-hand man, top aide Keith Freeman, 3 Dolton police officers, 4 allied trustees, and Woods himself. The feds weren't just scratching the surface. They were digging in. Freeman, already facing bankruptcy fraud charges for hiding his income from Dolton, quickly became a critical piece of the puzzle. Facing serious prison time, rumors swirled that he might flip on Henyard to protect himself. Meanwhile, the FBI was quietly running electronic surveillance, a clear sign this was no surface-level audit. This was a deep, surgical probe. Then came February 2025, when the feds widened the net again with another sweeping subpoena. This one demanded even more: digital records, emails, internal finance documents, even township property files. For many in Dolton, this felt like the moment everything would change, either the long-awaited reckoning for Tiffany Henyard or yet another chapter in Illinois' long history of corrupt politicians slipping through cracks. Public outrage boiled over like a dam finally breaking. Dolton's board meetings turned into battlegrounds of shouting and chaos. Residents stood up demanding Henyard's resignation. Trustees blasted her for concealing millions in spending from the board and the people. Online, groups like Dolton Politics exploded, branding her a walking scandal and accusing her of single-handedly destroying the town. The lawsuits grew darker, including one explosive claim that Henyard and trustee Andrew Holmes participated in a sexual assault against a former assistant and a police officer from her security team. Even churches and small businesses joined in, accusing her administration of intimidation and discrimination. But Henyard didn't blink. Instead of retreating, she doubled down on defiance. She blocked Freedom of Information Act requests at every turn, even being held in contempt of court for refusing to release public documents. And instead of showing humility, She went full spectacle. She dropped a disco-themed diss track, mocking her critics after a failed recall effort. Then she pushed out a $99 autobiography, widely mocked as nothing more than a shameless cash grab. Through it all, she clung to her political lifelines. Illinois House Speaker Chris Welch and her expensive attorney, Michael Del Galdo, try and survive a minefield of legal and political pressure. But politics doesn't wait for anyone. On May 5, 2025, Dolton swore in a new mayor, Jason House, ushering in a wave of hope. His Dolton United initiative promised transparency, accountability, and a return to community trust. He made immediate moves like securing free CTA rides for residents. Over in Thornton Township, State Senator Napoleon Harris stepped into Henyard's old supervisor seat, tasked with clawing out a $2 million deficit left behind. It won't be easy, but for the first time in years, residents can see a glimmer of recovery. And yet, one looming question still haunts the air. Will Tiffany Henyard face criminal charges? The FBI hasn't said a word, but subpoenas, electronic surveillance, and witness interviews all scream serious investigation. In Illinois, though, serious doesn't always equal prison time. Many fear she'll walk away untouched, another corrupt official slipping through the cracks. Others believe her downfall is unavoidable, that the feds are simply biding their time. For Dolton's 21,000 residents, this isn't just a headline. It's their reality. They've endured financial collapse, public humiliation, and years of dysfunction under her watch. Some are desperate to move on. Others whisper that Henyard is already plotting her comeback, spinning a new narrative to rally supporters. But one thing's undeniable. Dolton's survival depends on leaders who refuse to repeat the greed and corruption that poison the town. And it depends on a community strong enough to say, never again.